Hi, and welcome to my video where I will talk about religious post-traumatic stress. I believe that this is a subject that many people are suffering from without even knowing it. So if you grew up in a cult or a sect or in a very strict religious environment with a narcissistic parent and a codependent parent, then you might relate to what I'm going to tell you now. I grew up in Jehovah's Witnesses, and I had a narcissistic mom and a passive, submissive, codependent dad. All the while, everyone around us didn't see us more than like a normal family. Today, I'm 50 years old, and I left 32 years ago. And during life, I noticed that I had reactions to stressful situations, especially when there was an emotional stressful situation, and I felt that it wasn't really me. I was overreacting, and people around me didn't understand, and I didn't understand. There was one part that was me and one part that was someone else, and I was not schizophrenic. I needed to understand where these reactions came from. How were they developed, and like how, I just where when did this happen? um and I discovered something called shadow side, my shadow side, and everybody was talking about it on the internet, and I thought first that it was about people who had one behavior at home and another one outside of their home, a public persona per se. And then I realized that it wasn't even that. It was actually you who didn't even see um, your own psychological defense system that you had developed as a child. And there are many reasons for that, and that's what I'm going to go into. And I am also going to explain why it's so dangerous for children to grow up in this kind of environment, how damaging it is for them. We all have free will, so if something doesn't resound with you, then it's not for you. We have an inner guidance system that will show us the way. And the more in tune we are with ourselves, the more we will listen to that inner voice and not reject it because of what people tell us to do or think. Now, this is not the issue for children, because children, they are not they are in tune when they are born, they're in tune with their real selves. But if they are convinced that this is not their true selves, then they can develop another persona that they keep with them for their whole lives. And it can be extremely damaging to them. Every subject that I will bring up about emotions and how to handle them will end in a helping meditation technique. It's not really a meditation, it's more like you can have pen and paper, you can have your eyes open, you don't have to sit in the yoga position unless you want to. And it's just a guide to your inner fears and thoughts, to so that you can be a better and more constructive person and find a better way of handling your life and your emotions. In the sect I grew up in, the message was deeply shame based and used as a tool in a dysfunctional family. A child is born with freedom, individuality, imagination, integrity, love, joy, curiosity, honesty, objectivity, frankness, spontaneity, and talents. They're, and so just imagine this. They are born now into a family who belongs to a sect who uses their own system to keep their disciples in a closed environment, in a closed mental prison. The base is total faith. You have to have total faith, and if you don't follow the system of the sect, you will be corrected by meeting the elders, who are basically men in suits quoting the Bible handed down to them in secret messages that they have to follow. The world outside is seen as evil and controlled by the devil. I'm serious. I basically had my mom telling me about the devil all the time, and how if I thought thoughts that were not my own, then it was the devil talking to me, because he was trying to get me out of Jehovah's Witnesses. The members are told to preach, and this is an obligation if you want to be one of the herd. It is expected of you to give up your quest for a career in the world for a low-paid job on the side so that you can dedicate yourself to preaching. Of course, you don't have to, but you know how it works. They tell you that you're not obligated, but it's a requirement, and that means it's an obligation, because otherwise you will be corrected, and they will talk to you in a nice way and say that you haven't done your hours, and you will be rewarded for doing many hours of preaching. And the children have to start early going preaching as well with their parents, whether they want to or not. And the whole organization is a hierarchy, a technocracy, controlled from the top and not to be questioned. Everyone are sisters and brothers in spirit, erasing your identity as a unique being and enforcing the collaboration, a collaboration that you will continue to enforce in your real life, which doesn't work like that, because it's not everybody who wants to collaborate with you in real life. Now, this doesn't sound very dangerous, but I will explain to you why it is going to be a situation that creates difficult passages in your life. The rules coming from the organization is the law. It's their interpretation of the Bible, and this can, however, change. I grew up in the 70s and 80s in the Jehovah's Witnesses before I left, and during a period they encouraged the parents to physically punish their children based on a passage in the Bible. My dad basically took me out onto the toilet and made me pull down my panties so I would have a bare butt, and he could put me over his knees and slap me. And I asked him, what did I do? I said, Dad, I didn't do anything. And he just said, just do it. And he did it it was my mom who actually ordered him to do it as well. So he had no will of his own. He just did what my mom told him to do. I mean, he does have a will of his own, but in his codependency, he wanted to please, and he wanted to play the role that he had taken on himself to play. The members are also told to be prepared to flee, because they are going to be persecuted when the end is near. If a group of Jehovah's Witnesses is persecuted in another country, this will be brought up in the congregation, in their publications, and everyone will feel that this is the proof of them being the chosen ones. The end has been near several times, and you should always be prepared to flee. This enforces the feeling of having to be paranoid all the time and looking over your shoulder and being ready to escape. Subconsciously, you put this in place. You're not aware of this. This is your shadow side, because the way they are presenting it to you, you're not seeing it. You will understand as I continue to do this explanation. The children cannot participate in birthdays, Christmas, or class parties, and are alienated from their friends. And they as well are taught that their friends in their school are outsiders belonging to the world outside and will die when God arrives on the last day. So everything you see around you is going to disappear. Instead of hell, you have the doomsday, persecution, and fear. And if you behave, you have paradise waiting. Judicial committees are judging if you can be in the organization or not, depending on your behavior. All are judged by their interpretation of the Bible, handed down as secret instructions from the top organization. Hidden in the family is toxicity with a strong fanatic narcissistic parent and a submissive codependent father. And this is a special case. I'm not saying that all Jehovah's Witness families have a narcissistic mom and a codependent dad, or vice versa. But this is the situation I'm going to explain to you, is this special case, which is mine, and what I've learned from it. So, narc mom or dad is controlling, dominant, manipulative, criticizing, and demeaning. And co-dad is submissive, gives love and care for the children, but is lacking in protection for his children and failed to stand up for them, since he's more concerned by living up to the expectation of his wife, as is expected of him also by the congregation, which coincides with the rules of the sect. As the child grows older, the rules of the congregation is more ingrained into the child, and the parents are now using the talking with the elders as a threat to the child if they are not following their rules at home. If the child should misbehave, the elders of the congregation will support the parents, with which enforces the power of the perpetrators, which is the parents. The child has no voice. This association, when a parent hates you for small things that doesn't matter, will appear at this early stage. And you can look up this association, because that will also be important for you. I suggest that you make notes during my speech, because I'll go through this, and it's a very vast subject, and there's a lot of points that you could look through if you want to find ways to cure yourself from this brainwashing that you have been through when you were a child. The child will be instructed that the different levels of power is God, he has the ultimate power, then the organization, who are considered the channeling body of God, the governing body. All instructions from them are obeyed by the parents. Then you have the elders, and in the congregation, who is in the committees that is judging people if they can stay or leave, and etc., etc. And you have the parents. So why is this important? Well, this sends the message to the children that when they are at home alone with the parents, then they are God, and they're not to be contradicted. You cannot question them. This would be as you were insulting God directly. If the parents are giving physical abuse, they can do so and support themselves on the scriptures of the Bible. The children has in no case the power over their own reality. Every objection the child makes in this family towards their parents will be seen as an insult, and physical punishment will follow. The child is taught from a young age that God will destroy the world and kill all the sinners. They will be shown illustrations of people running in fear, with high buildings falling all around them through streets of fire and the ground opening up under them. I can tell you that this gave me nightmares. It gave my sisters nightmares, and I know that my sister, she peed in her bed because she dreamt that she was falling down a building. But let's get back to the child and the qualities as the child is born, and see how they are met by the narcissistic parent and codependent dad in this. How are their needs, their natural abilities met in this kind of environment? I'm going to talk about that in my next video, And so look for the religious, oh, sorry, I kind of religious post-traumatic stress number 2 in this series. Thank you. Until the next video, click like if you want to hear more of this and follow me.